Centerpieces. It's LadyBug theme, but it's with a baby. Okay, now let's go ahead and start. I'm in Silhouette Studio and I'm using my Cameo to cut the images. And my printer, which is a wide format, HP 7740. Okay, let's go ahead first and set up the printer. Go to File, Print Page Setup, and I already have it set for my wide format, my 7740. I can choose either one of these, and then using that one. And then the cardstock that I'm using, it's the 11 by 17 white 110 pound cardstock, 11 by 17. That remains the same. Orientation remains the same. And we're going to go ahead and click on OK. Now, once we finish with the printer, we're going to go ahead and set the canvas. Go on to your right hand side where you see all these little tabs. The first tab is your page setup. Click on it. Now, let's start from the top. Number 1, auto cameo. Leave it the same. My cutting mat, I'm using a 12 by 24. Why? Because I'm cutting 15-inch images. Reveal remains the same. Media size, I'm going to put custom because I'm going to change it manually. I'm going to change it to 11. Why? Because I'm using 11 by 17 paper. And you'll see right here on the canvas, on this side, you see that changed. Watch when I change it here to 17, which is the height. There you go. That's your paper, your cardstock. Orientation remains the same. The rest remains the same. I always put show print border and show the cut border. That is set. On this same setup, page setup, go to your third tab. That's the registration marks. You need your registration marks in order for your machine to recognize what it'll be cutting. You'll see these black little squares, this triangle right here. Those are your registration marks. This gray little fence, that's to let you know your image should be in there. It cannot overlap that because it will not print, it will not cut. And it has to be inside this red border. Okay, the rest remains the same. You can X out of it. And now let's go ahead and bring in our image. To bring in the image, I'll go to File, click on Merge. If you click on New, this little folder, it'll open a new screen and you're going to have to do all this again with your page setup. Now, let's go ahead and go. I'm going to go to Downloads. And you might ask, or some might know, where are you getting your images, or where are you getting this from? Where's this square coming from? This square is coming from my computer. These are my files that I have in my computer. Let's say I bought an image on Etsy, or I found an image on Google. I clean it up and I save it to my computer, and this is it right here, my downloads. Okay, let's go ahead and, where is, oh, right here. I have a folder because this is where I buy these babies from this seller from Etsy, Divine Digital Diva. I'll leave a link in the description. With wings right here. And it is this one right here. You can double click, drag it in, or click OK, and you have your image. It'll come up in a minute. Okay, now, if you notice, this image, you see the box around it? I'm going to clean up this image. Why? It has that box. That's not the size. Notice that it says that 8 by 5. I have to eliminate. It has a transparent box around it. That's not the original size of that baby. Watch. You'll notice 8.5 and 5.5. Let's go on your right hand side click on this tab, which is the trace panel. Click on select trace area. So select, why is this doing this? Let's go back again. Select trace area, highlight your image, go on to the threshold, highlight it up to 100. This is just to highlight your image all in yellow. And we're going to trace and detach. I'm going to detach that image from that transparent box. You'll notice. Did you notice that? You see the size that it changed? Because of that box that right there. Now you guys can see it. Okay, so we want her by herself. So let's highlight this area, entire area, and let's delete it. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and size her. Let's lock, and her height will be 15 inches. And click on enter. Automatically, the system will let you know the width when you set it up to 15, but I want her a little bit more wider. So I'm just going to go ahead and unlock, and I'm going to take it up to 7. Enter. And lock it. Okay, I want her just like that. Now, I'm going to add a white border around. Why? Because the machine goes crazy trying to cut these little strands of her little pom-poms right here on the top, and also this right here. When we go ahead and cut it in the machine, it's the machine goes crazy because the image, I don't know, when it was designed, it had little strands of hair, and it takes forever to cut. Now, to do that, go to your, let's eliminate this one, X out of it. Go to your right-hand side. You'll see a star, which is the offset panel. Click on that one, and click on offset. For my big images that are 12 inches and higher, what I do is the distance of the border, I leave it in 0.125. And for the corners, I go ahead and do the circle. And you can see right here, automatically when I click on offset, you'll see the border. Do not worry about that border being in red. That will not print in red. That's just the trace line, a guide to let the machine know where it needs to cut. Click on apply. Okay, we're done with that. Now, what I want to do, oh my goodness, let's undo that. What I want to do is highlight the entire image, go to object, and I'm going to group it so I can just move it around. Okay, let's put it back. And then also we have to flip it because our centerpiece is double-sided. Now, let's go ahead and X out of this. Once you're done, we're going to go ahead and click on send. Okay, it brings in a lot. You see right here, a lot of borders. We only need one, which is the outer border. So let's go ahead right here on that first line. You see simple line fill layer. Click on line and it will eliminate the line, that small line that was inside the border. We got that. This remains the same. Cardstock plain, that's your material in action, auto. And your tool right here, you should have your blade in. Now, you see it right here. All this is the same as right here. Cardstock plain. I already have mine set up. I can do heavy. Even though if it's say 110, I can do heavy. Cut. Force, I have it on 18 because I've been using my blade forever. And speed 10, that remains the same. When you're ready, go to your little printer on your left-hand side, click on it. You select the printer that you'll be using. I already have this preset. So I suggest before you start printing, before you come here, you just add your presets if you want. If you use your printer a lot, like Silhouette Studio, you should have your presets ready. It'll help. Okay, we click on print. once you print your image, still connecting. Once you print your image, you're going to go ahead and stick it onto your mat. Okay, then what you do is you load your mat to your machine, and then once that loads, you go ahead and click on send. Remember, when you load your mat, follow the instructions on your machine. Place your mat right where the arrows are in your machine. Like I said, just follow the instructions on your machine to load your mat. Once you do that, you go ahead and click on send. Once you print and cut all of your 10 sides, we have to go back and print the other side because these are double-sided. When you're done, just go ahead and click on design. Make sure your image is grouped. We already did that from the beginning, but let's go ahead and check. Highlight the image, go to object, and yes, it's grouped. Since we already here, let's go ahead and click on mirror and flip horizontally. And then it'll change it to the other side. Once you do that, you go back again, click on send, and follow the same steps, same technique as we did with the other side. Once you have printed and cut all of your images, both sides, I'll see you guys back at the table so we can start assembling. Okay, now that we're back at the table, let's go ahead and start. I have, it's 10 centerpieces. I have the cutouts. So we have the front side, and then we have the back side. And next we have the dowel rod. It's a 12-inch 3/16 diameter dowel rod. I have the 3x5 base. And I have the red glitter. I have my glitter pan. Mod Podge. And acrylic black paint. And I have my paintbrush. And you need a hot glue gun, and I use Gorilla Glue sticks. My other glue gun is being used, so I'm going to use my small one. So now, what I do first is I go ahead and grab the base, and I paint the base, just the back part of the base black, and this part. Next, I take the Mod Podge, apply the Mod Podge on the top of the base, glitter it, wait for it to dry at least 4 hours, 5 hours, and then spray the clear adhesive. And then I let that dry for 24 hours. Then I grab my drill, and the bit of the drill is the same diameter as your dowel rod, is 3/16. So what I do is go ahead and center it and drill the hole. Okay, and then go ahead and take my dowel rod. And there it is. So what I'm going to do is paint the dowel rod, and I'll be right back. Just grab a little bit of this paint. It's not much. I don't paint it. I just paint a little piece of it because it's what's going to show, like maybe less than an inch of the dowel rod, because the rest will be covered. So there's no need to paint the entire dowel rod, not for this centerpiece. On the any other centerpiece, most likely, yes, you would have to paint the entire, because you'll have maybe half of it that you can see, but it's just this little section right here. Okay, let's set it aside to dry. Just place it on your base. Just grab a piece of cardboard. Well, I'll get a napkin. I forgot my cardboard. Okay. Let's go ahead and paint. let's let that dry. And pretty simple, like I was saying. Just finish painting it and adding the glitter and set it to dry. Since we already have this one done and this is dry, so we're going to go ahead and grab our centerpiece. Make sure I don't have no paint on my hands. Okay. We're going to go ahead and add the glue on the centerpiece. I'm going to use this one. What I do is add the hot glue. See if you guys can see that. Okay, and then just go ahead and add the dowel rod up to where you painted. That'll be fine. Okay, it fits perfect. Okay, then for the other side, what I do is I don't add the glue here on the dowel rod first. I'll just go ahead and match it up on the side. And then what I do is I'll bend it over a little bit, and I would just add the glue here on the side and a little bit in the middle. And then so we can go ahead and now then after I do that, then I'll go ahead and add the glue right there on. Oh, I have glue here. Make sure you don't get yours. Okay, and I add the glue right here. And that should be good to go. Then after that, I'm going to start sealing the sides, applying a little bit of glue on the side. Okay, once you finish sealing all the sides, you go ahead and grab your base. I'm gonna see if I can move the angle of my camera so you guys can see when I stand her up. Just give me 1 minute, guys. Okay, let's go ahead and so you guys can see. You go ahead and take your cutout and you just go ahead and stick it in the base. What I do, instead of like sticking it in, just twist it on. It'll be much easier, much better. Okay, and okay, there is the centerpiece. Okay, what I'm going to do is finish the rest. I have 9 more to go, and I will post a picture right at the end of this tutorial. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video, which I will be designing dessert plates, the insert for the dessert plates, and a Hershey bar wrappers. But that will be done with the Cricut, with Design Space, not with Silhouette Studio. Stay tuned. Have a great day. And again, thank you for watching.